Alright, so surds are square roots, okay? But they're square roots that don't reduce down to a whole number. So like the square root of 4 is 2. That's not a surd, okay? Square root of 3, if you put it in the calculator, you get out an approximation. It's a decimal. That is a surd, okay? So square root 3, square root 5, square root 7. Does that make sense? Okay, and now we're just going to work with surds, okay? So first thing is simplifying. Now our calculator does do this for us, but it's important that we know how to do it, okay? So for example, the square root of 8. Throw the square root of 8 into your calculator and tell me what you get. Someone. Two root 2. Okay, so how did they get that? To simplify surds, you're looking for the biggest square number that goes into 8. So square numbers are 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49. Yeah? So what's the biggest square number that goes into 8? 4. So instead of the square root 8, we're going to have square root 4 by what gives me 8? 2. When I'm dealing with surds, if two things are multiplied underneath the square root, they can come out as two separate square roots. So that's square root 4 by square root of 2. And what's the square root of 4? 2. So 2 root 2. Square root of 32. What's the biggest square number that goes into 32? 16, isn't it? Okay, so that's actually 16 by 2. So that's square root 16 square root 2. What's the square root of 16? 4 root 2. That's how you simplify surds.
Did that go through the test, like show your work?
Yeah, or they might use letters. When, yeah.
Divide 2 into the next step after that, is it just you divide 2 into 16 and that's why you get 4?
No. What's the square root of 16?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Square root of 16 is 4. Now, just like when we were squaring a fraction, you squared the top, square the bottom. When you're square rooting a fraction, you square root the top and square root the bottom. Okay? Square root 50, what's the biggest square number that goes into 50? Square number? 25. So that's square root 25, and 25 by 2 gives me the 50. What's the square root of 64? 8. Square root 25 is 5. So your answer is 5 root 2 over 8. Hi. Adding or subtracting surds. Square root 2 plus square root 3. You can't do anything to that. Okay? You can only add and subtract surds if they have the same square root. So square root of 2, square root of 2. Okay? So 2 root 3 plus 4 root 3 is what? 6 root 3. Yep. Root 27 minus root 12. I can't do anything with that because they're different square roots. But let's see if we can work with 27 and simplify it like up here. Work with 12 and simplify it like up here. So what's the biggest square number that goes into 27? 9. 9 what gives me 27? 3's. So that's square root 9 square root 3. And what's the biggest square number that goes into 12? 4. So that's square root 4 by square root 3. What's square root 9? 3 root 3. And what's square root 4? 2 root 3. Yeah.
But do I ever say like the number itself? Like, if that was it.
Then it wouldn't be a surd. So like if it was just square root 16, you know that that's answer is 4.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, does that make sense? What's 3 root 3 take 2 root 3? Root 3. Okay? So you can add or subtract surds as long as the number under the square roots are the same. And if they're not the same, you get them the same. Okay? Multiplying is next.
If they're not the same, they're on the second bit, like with the 9 and 3.
Yeah,
If they're not the same, you can't get it.
you couldn't do anything. Like if this was root 4 by root 2,
Yeah.
I'd end up with 3 root 3 minus 2 root 2. I couldn't do anything. Yeah. 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 Number 3 here. Can I get rid of the board? Okay. Multiplying thirds is next. What's root 4 by root 4? Root 16, which is 4. Okay. Root 3 by root 3? Root 9, which is 3. Okay. Root x by root x is x. Root 6 by root 6 is 6. Okay? Because it's the square root of 4 to be squared. By itself means to be squared, and then the square and the square root cancel. What about root 5 by root 6? So this is actually like working in the reverse to the first thing we did. Okay? Root 5 by root 6. If you've got two surds and they're being multiplied, you can put them underneath the same square root sign. So what is 5 by 6? 30. And now, have we got the biggest square number that goes into 30? No. So then root 30 is it simplified. Okay? If there was a square number that went in, you could simplify it further, but there isn't one. Okay?
When you find the biggest number that goes in, it has to be a square number.
It has to be, yes, it has to be a perfect square. It has to be a square number. Multiplying thirds is the exact same as multiplying like we did with algebra. Okay? So, how do I multiply two brackets? First number, second bracket, second number, second bracket. Okay? So that is 49. 7 by root 2 is just 7 root 2. Minus root 2 by 7 is just minus 7 root 2. Minus by plus is minus root 2 by root 2. Root 4, which is 2. Okay, 49 take 2 is 47. Plus 7 root 2 minus 7 root 2. They cancel. Okay, so just treat it the exact same as if it was algebra. First number, second bracket, second number, second bracket.
Would you usually get things and not cancel?
You'll know they'll cancel because what is one's a plus, one's a minus. This is difference two squares, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is going to be in a question somewhere, really. Okay. And the last thing is dividing, or what's sometimes called rationalizing the denominator. To rationalize the denominator, it means you don't have a surd on the bottom of the fraction. Denominator is the bottom of the fraction. Okay? So it's just bad maths to have a surd on the bottom. It's not wrong, it's just not normal, okay? Again, your calculator will do it for you. So if this is in a question, you can absolutely just throw it into the calculator and check. But we'll just go through how to do it, okay? So if I have 5 root 3, if I want to rationalize the denominator, what would I multiply root 3 by in order to make it rational, a rational number, a number without a surd? Root 3. Because what's root 3 by root 3? 3. Excellent. Now if I multiply the bottom by root 3, what has to happen? Have to multiply the top by root 3. Okay? Because what's root 3 by root 3? Root 9. What's root 9? 3. So you end up with a rational denominator. Okay? So the square roots, it's not that they cancel now, it's just that square root 3 by square root 3 is square root 3 to be squared, and the square and the square root cancel. Okay? So you're trying to get a rational number on the bottom. So if you have a surd, just multiply the top and the bottom by the surd. Okay? So multiply by whatever we'll get rid of the square root on the bottom. Okay? You're not changing your equation at all. Root 3 over root 3 is just 1. So really you're just multiplying by 1. Okay? Okay, and just from here, I just want to keep, it's still underneath this, I just want to keep this little bit above here because I'm going to use it. What about if I had this? I want a rational number on the bottom of the square root. What would I multiply this by? You noticed it there a minute ago. Almost itself, but look up here. What happened here? I got a nice rational number when, they had different signs. Okay? So you're going to multiply by the opposite sign. And if I do that on the bottom, I have to do it on the top. So what I'm left with is 7 plus root 2 over, and what was this from here? It was 47. Thankfully, with all of these, we can just throw them into the calculator and check that we're actually doing it right, which is great. Okay, let's just do one example. We've loads of examples in there. Can I get rid of the board? Okay. Simplify root 12 over 5 root 3 minus root 27. Okay, let's just try and simplify these surds. What's root 12? We need to change it from root 12. What's the biggest square number that goes into 12? 4. Okay, so that's going to be root 4 by root 3, because 4 threes is 12. 5 root 3 is definitely simplified as far as it can go. Root 27, 9 goes in there, doesn't it? Root 9 by root 3. So root 4, this is 2 root 3 on the top over 5 root 3 minus 3 root 3. You're just simplifying those square roots there. What's 5 root 3 minus 3 root 3? 2 root 3. So you get 2 root 3 over 2 root 3. What's 2 root 3 over 2 root 3? 1. Okay?
If you just put that into your calculator and then write down the answer, would you lose the mark for not doing it?
Unless they specify that you have to show all your work. No. For your homework, it doesn't specify, but I'm specifying. You have to show everything, okay? Just use the calculator to check it. But other than that, I want it all done out just so you have it, how to do it, okay?